A lot of people know that the financial crash of 2008, 2009, 2010 was horrible. What a lot of agents don't realize that in major metro markets, up to 90% of listed properties were owned by the bank. So that meant during that time, if you weren't working with a bank and listing their properties, you weren't getting listings at all. The agents who didn't adapt and shift and have a plan on how to handle those foreclosures and how to handle that market ended up working for the asset management companies that were hired to liquidate these bank-owned properties. I spent 7 years in that world selling over 11,000 homes. So a lot of people nowadays reach out to me and they say, Ben, what do we do? Like, I'm getting direct messages, text, phone calls, agents asking me how they get REO listings to prepare for recession if that's indeed what's on the horizon. And I get so many of these messages and calls, I didn't want to respond to them all individually. So it's like, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm just going to make a video. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Ben Barber here to talk to you about REO, something that's very near and dear to me because it gave me my start in the real estate industry. And I spent nearly a decade of my life working for some of the biggest banks and lenders before becoming a full-time real estate agent. And now that the market's changing, I have a lot of people reaching out and they just want to know, like, how do I get REO listings? And that's what I want to make this video for. I'm going to give you the 5 things that I would do to go get REO listings, whether you have experience or not. And if you implement these strategies and you're consistent and you're diligent, then it's going to lead to opportunities in a recession, but also opportunities if you're not in a recession. Each one of these strategies that I'm going to go over can yield results, but the best thing to do is put them all in play together. All right. And if you're willing to do that, and if you're willing to be diligent, then you will have success with REO and beyond. But if you're somebody who's just going to say, I'm going to listen to this video, I'm going to go try to submit my application to one vendor, and if they don't get back to me, then fuck it, I don't want to do it anymore. Save yourself the time and just stop this video right now, because REO is a tough nut to crack. The system up front is designed to keep agents out, but once you get in there, the rewards are exponential. So I encourage you to really consider if this is right for you. And if you're committed to being the best agent you can be and doing what it takes to get your foot in the door to crack that nut and start getting REO listings or bank-owned listings and assignments, then this is the video for you. And I'm going to give you strategies that work based on my experience designing the processes that were meant to keep you out. The first strategy that we're going to talk about for getting those REO listings or for listing properties for the bank that have been foreclosed on is directly applying to be an agent. They call them vendors, to be a vendor with these REO companies. You could go to Vendor Resource Management and you can apply directly on their website to be one of their vendors, to be one of their agents and try to get listing assignments from them. You can also go directly to like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and some of these other big lenders and apply directly with them in hopes of getting REO assignments. Here's the one thing that absolutely drives me nuts with this strategy is I talk to people all the time when they say, well, you know what? I submitted my application to this one company 3 months ago and I haven't heard back from them. And my initial response is, yeah, you're right. You're not going to hear back from them. That's the challenge with this strategy is that, yes, it is a direct path. It allows you to take immediate action and be really proactive. The disadvantage with it is you're not doing anything different than everybody else. You're submitting your information against 1,000 other agents that are trying to do the same thing. And if you're not solving a problem, if you're not adding value, then why on earth would they consider your application over somebody else's? Now, that doesn't mean that applying is not the right step, because it is. You should go take a direct approach and you should apply. But it's how you apply that is the most important thing. In REO University, for my students, I actually show them how to create an REO resume. That's the thing you need to look at if you're going to go submit property or submit applications to be a vendor directly to these companies. You have to take a step back and you have to say, how do I tailor my resume, my experience, so I stand out, so that I catch their eye, I help them meet their goals or their quotas or whatever's important to them? How do I let them know that I'm the person to do that? The thing I would encourage you to consider is, number one, look at your designations. So I have seen a lot of applications come over for agents that had all these extra trainings and initials and acronyms and all that stuff for helping buyers. I kept seeing that. Certified buyer specialist, certified negotiation specialist. And I'm going to tell you right now, no one gives a shit. I hate to be that blunt, but that's the absolute truth. Because when I'm an REO asset manager and I'm looking for somebody that I want to list my properties, I don't want someone who specializes with buyers, because I don't want you double dipping on this deal. I want someone who has focused their energy and their processes and their business on listing properties effectively. So if you're going to have all these different designations from NAR and all these classes and certifications you've taken, that's totally fine if they serve listing a property. Okay, so going through REO University, that's a great note to have in your resume. If you do any kind of certification programs from NAR that are specific to BPOs, specific to property preservation, short sales, default, working with foreclosed properties, evictions, anything like that, that's in the realm of these REO companies. That's going to stand out. That's going to help you. So that's the first part of your resume, is tailoring that, saying, I have the experience you're looking for. Here's my designations if you're going to use those. The second part of it is taking a look at your experience in your production and starting to look like the asset managers look at their portfolio. So like I knew whenever I went into my pipeline when I was an asset manager, I always looked at my net recovery. That was the number one driver for every decision that I made. Every property valuation, every repair strategy was all about, can I meet my net recovery goals? Because that's what they would bonus me on every single month. How well I did with they're called KPIs, your key performance indicators. And the number one key KPI was net recovery. Did we sell the property for what I said we would sell it for? Even if you're a brand new agent, you don't have a ton of experience. If you sold one property for a seller, you have a net recovery. That's what I mean by starting to think like the asset managers and the REO companies, is that we don't just go and say, I sold 100 homes. We want to say, over the last X amount of years, I've sold this many homes. Here's my average days on market. Here's my net recovery. Here's my cost of repairs. All these different things that are going to mesh and align with the goals that the REO company has already set for themselves. That's the second part of submitting your application directly to an REO outsourcer, is making sure your resume is cohesive and aligned with their existing goals. All right. And then the third thing you have to look at is, how is your business set up? So there are companies like Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, like they want to work with a broker. They want to work with somebody that has been a broker for 5 years. And some companies will have little like gatekeeper qualifications like that. So you have to make sure before you're submitting applications that you've had a conversation with your broker, or if you're a broker, that you are prepared to start taking on REO listings. And that means that as a broker, you may have to have an application that goes hand in hand with your agent's application. Like VRM wanted a relationship with the broker, even though they could have agents working the account. So that broker had to submit information, or the agent had to have broker information to submit when they submitted their application, if they just went and applied directly. So you have to look at all these different aspects when you're submitting an application. If you're just going to go in and just throw shit against the wall and hope that something works, and you're just going to put in the basic information, you're not going to get responses, and it's a complete waste of your time. Now, submitting the application, though, is just the first part. You have to take some of these other steps if you want to give yourself the highest probability of success. So that's why we're going to move into the second thing that you need to do, which is working with BPO companies. Whenever I tell agents, go work with BPO companies if you want a chance to get REO listings, this is where they shake their head the most. Like, people don't want to do it. They're really being short-sighted. They're only looking at the time and effort it takes to put into a BPO, which is a broker price opinion, and they're looking at the limited amount of money that they're going to make from each BPO. What these companies do is they're either going to get an initial BPO from the agent they think is going to list the property, and then they'll get a secondary BPO from another agent or from a BPO company. Some places won't even go to the agent first. They'll just get 2 BPOs, and then they're going to reconcile the values and look at property photos to determine their repair strategy. This is why BPOs are so important. The opportunities to fast track your REO success happen during the BPO stage, because like I told you, I always focused on net recovery. And when I was managing a team, that's what we focused on, is net recovery. A company focuses on net recovery. And if these outsourcers are not making their net recovery goals, it may actually cost them money. They may actually have to pay their client for not making those net recovery KPIs. So the valuation is the most critical part of the REO property. If I'm looking at a valuation from the person that I think is going to list the property, and I'm also looking at a valuation from a BPO agent, if this BPO agent has done a better job, if they've given me better comps, if they've given me better adjustments, if they've given me more market data, if that BPO agent is doing a better job, I have literally hundreds of times canceled the listing with the agent that I thought I was going to go with, and I've assigned it to the BPO agent. And if they weren't in my network, then I would push their application through just so I could assign them this property, because I knew they were going to give me the highest probability of success listing this property at the correct price. So that's the first benefit from it, is it's a fast track to get reassignments. And that's what you want. You want those reassignments because it's going to put your application to the front of the line. If your application is already in, it's going to give you faster listings if you're already a part of the network, and if you're not in the network, it's going to basically give you a concierge service as somebody hand walks your application through approval so you can get this new listing. So I love the BPO aspect because it's got so many benefits: small amount of income, experience, valuing properties in your area, but then it also is fast tracking you to REO reassignments. And then you also start to learn who the players are in the REO world. So you may not get this reassignment, but if you know that this BPO is going to this company, like going down to VRM in Carrollton, Texas, you now have a network where you can start using some of these other strategies I'm going to go through to start getting yourself in the door so you can start getting these listings. Now, a lot of people ask me, they're like, okay, that's great. I want to go apply. I want to go work with BPO providers, but where do I find these? Anybody that's in REO University, they get access to my personal list of 100 banks and BPO companies with contact information. Usually I sell this for $99 for people that don't want to jump into the program. But to thank you for being here, if you click this link that I've got, I don't know if I'm going to put it as an overlay or if it's going to be in the description, but if you go there, you can actually just go give me some basic information, no strings attached. I'm going to give you access to that list so you can get started on step 1 and step 2 and kind of fast track your success. So we already went over apply directly and some of the benefits and some of the disadvantages of doing that. We went over working with BPO companies. I think it's a great strategy. I think you should really consider doing that. And then the third thing that we're going to talk about is taking company provided training. And here's what I mean by that. So you have these designations. You can go get your short sale designation, your foreclosure designation. You can go get all of that, and that's great. That's going to help you with your resume. But what's going to help you fast track your success the most is taking any certification courses that an REO outsourcer, vendor, or direct lender like Fannie Mae provide. And I know that's a lot. That's like a big mouthful to say, but it's basically just saying the company that you want to work for, if they are offering any kind of specialized training, you have to take that. When I was at Vendor Resource Management, VRM in Carrollton, Texas, one of the biggest challenges that we had was agents didn't know how to complete the BPO correctly. We were getting bad comps, we were getting bad adjustments, we were getting limited notes, and it was making it very difficult for us to go in and reconcile these values. And at one point, we were rejecting like 56% of the BPOs that came in. So it was a huge waste of time for everybody. So VRM's training department got together and they said, okay, we're going to do a BPO specific training for the agents. And they used it as an income stream. It was like $99 to complete this agent training course. There's a couple advantages here. Like for VRM, the advantage was earning a little bit of extra money that would help offset some of the training costs. And we were trying to build our system, VRM Co at the time. So it offset some of those costs, but it also trained the agents the way that we wanted to see BPOs done. Creating this training program gave agents the opportunity to go in and learn specifically how VRM wanted to have their BPOs done. But here's the benefit that I think a lot of agents didn't consider. It's that once somebody completed that class and had that certification or was registered in the system with VRM that they had completed this BPO training, it put them on a fast track to start getting listings, because we saw that as somebody who is committed to working with us the way we want them to work with us. That's the agent that I want in my network, somebody who has shown that they are committed to understanding our process and working with us so that we can go sell more homes and make our goals, and I can make money and they can make money and the company can make money. That's who we want to work with. So somebody who had completed those BPO trainings, we would make sure that their application, if they weren't already in the system, that their application was moved through and they were now a registered vendor within our system and eligible for assignments. All right, let's move on to the number 4 thing. And I think that this one is, it's a strategy that takes a little bit more time, but if you listen to my business partner, Joshua Smith, this was almost his sole strategy to land like 35 different REO accounts. And this strategy is to provide a value or benefit to the REO companies. He would go through and he would find contact information for asset managers, for sales managers, for operations managers. And he would start going through a system of emailing them or calling them like on a Friday and just offering to be of help. And that's one of the most crucial things you can do, because asset managers are under a ton of pressure to sell these properties. They're managing portfolios, sometimes up to 400 assets at a time. They're trying to meet these deadlines. They're overwhelmed with tasks. They're overwhelmed with training agents on the system and how to just complete basic things like a BPO. So if somebody can step in and offer some assistance, it is a refreshing change. So for Josh to put himself in a position and say, hey, I'm here, I'm your go-to person, I can help with anything you want, is what led opportunities for him to get business, because the asset managers would take him up on that. They would reassign listings to him based off their experience, that all stemmed from Josh reaching out and saying, I'm available, how can I help you? That's a direct solving a problem approach, and it does work. And I want you to go out and I want you to try that. It's going to benefit you, it's going to benefit the asset manager, it's going to make everybody's life better. But another thing I want you to do is look at just getting people to know and like you. We're going to do that first, and then eventually they'll trust you once they start sending assignments out. And the best way to do that is become an office celebrity. When I say that, I don't mean like go be a famous person and then go walk in the office. I'm talking everybody has to know your name. The ways we're going to do this is very beneficial for the asset managers. You do need a little bit of money to make this happen, but it's just delivering gifts. And when I'm talking about gifts, I think it's very important to note that you're not going to send anything of monetary value. You're not going to send gift cards, even like a $5 Starbucks gift card. You are not going to send, because the mailroom is going to confiscate those, and then they're going to give them away at their their Christmas party to employees and make it look like they came from them. No gift cards, no cash. For the love of God, do not send cash in envelopes, because that's just bad all the way around. What I'm talking about is like send cookies, send cakes, send treats, send a catered lunch. And any company you can call, like you can call VRM right now, talk to whoever answers the phone, and you can just say, how many people are working the VA account? I want to cater lunch. And they're going to tell you, and they're going to put you in touch with people to help facilitate that and make that happen. Now, if you don't want to go and do something as grand as lunch, then by all means, just go get some cookies made up and have them delivered on a Friday, and have your company information, your contact name on those. Anytime that happened and somebody sent cookies or treats or cakes, stuff like that to me, I would always do two things. First thing I would do is I would walk around the office and I'd hand them out. And now I always felt this guilt or this pull that I needed to do something for this agent who just did this wonderful thing for us on a Friday. So it was amazing that how many times I would pick up the phone, call the agent, and have a conversation and express my gratitude and start building a relationship just by thanking them for delivering cookies to our office. All right. So it's a great way to brand yourself. It's a great way to get people to know you. And I'm not saying you have to go out and do it like every Friday and spend a fortune to do it, but sending things like that on a somewhat consistent basis, it is going to get your name out there. And if you're staying top of mind, it's just like traditional real estate. You have to stay relevant to get the opportunities. So if you've submitted your application, and if you've done the BPO certification, you're doing BPOs, and you've done the company trainings, and now you stack that with reaching out to asset managers and letting them know you're available to help them, and you're sending goodies and treats like that to the company, you're increasing the likelihood of getting reassignments and getting new listings exponentially, because now people do know you. And once they look at the work you've done with the BPO, they do trust you, or you're going to earn their trust once you get a reassignment and you go out and you absolutely crush it. If you have the budget to do it, the number one thing that you can do if you're going to start working that office celebrity is you have to have swag that people can use. So like customized mouse pads and coffee mugs and desk calendars or regular calendars, or email or mail everybody a newsletter and a market update. Because again, remember, the asset manager, like I worked all 52 states, but I was in Texas, or else I was in Salt Lake City. So I didn't know about Alabama. I hadn't been there. I didn't know different parts of North Carolina and Florida and Texas before I moved to Texas. So I counted on the agent to know that information and to give me tools and resources to become more knowledgeable in those areas, so that I could sell my properties quicker at a higher net recovery, so that I could meet my goals, and I could get paid, and I could live my dreams. So if an agent is sending me information saying, hey, we just got this new employer you should be aware of, because it's going to bring this many homes, it's going to bring this many jobs to the market, or heads up, we just lost this employer, so this is what's going to impact being able to resell, because we just lost this big old pool of buyers. That's stuff the asset manager needs to know. And somebody that's adding that value to me, I'm going to remember them. I'm going to look to reward them with assets and listings when they've demonstrated that they're really a true expert in that area and they're committed to growth just like I am. All right, now before we move on to the number one thing, which is the fifth item on our list today, I really do want to know what you think. So if you're enjoying this video, please give me a like. If we've connected and you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure you're subscribed, you hit the bell icon so you can stay notified of just the new content that I put out. And then I want to see your comments. I want to see what questions you have. I want to see strategies that are working for you. I want to see different areas where you're struggling so I can make different videos and address those. And if you ever want to continue this conversation further with me and with Joshua Smith, check out REO University. There is a discount code in the description. You can get started with those videos. They're 100% online. Having said that, we got that out of the way. Let's jump into what I think is the most important thing you can do if you're serious about getting REO listings, and that is growing your REO referral network. Now, with this strategy, this one is going to take a little bit more commitment and diligence on your part, but this is the best way to get in. And what's funny is if you take a step back and look at it, man, REO is just like traditional real estate. We want that personal referral. We want that past client referral. We want our friends and family and our sphere of influence to refer business to us and work with us directly. REO is no different. So that's what I want you to do. That's the most important thing that I think that you need to do, whether you go out and submit applications or become a BPO vendor or try to be an office celebrity, any of that stuff. This is the most important one, because even if you're not in the system and you haven't submitted applications, you're going to get invitations to apply or opportunities to apply just by going through the strategy. So this is kind of three parts. Number one, the first thing to do is create a LinkedIn profile if you haven't done that already, and start looking for connections in the REO world. This is how you're going to start building up a database of asset managers, operations managers, eviction people, everybody in the business, because you can start looking at people you're connected to and looking at their first and second connections to see who's in the REO space. You can go follow companies like Vendor Resource Management. You can see when they're hiring. You can see what articles they're putting out. You can see when they land a new client, and you can see what motivates them, what drives them, what's important to them, and what connections you have that can help you get your foot in the door. But the second thing you want to do is you want to look at who's already getting the business. Now, some people kind of cringe when I suggest this, but if there is a major player in your area and you're serious about getting into REO, you may want to consider joining their team or joining their brokerage and leveraging their success to start building your career. You just need your foot in the door. You need people to know, like, and trust you. And the only way they're going to trust you is through experience. And the only way to get experience is to get those assignments. Well, if I'm in Georgia and Judy Rasmus is running 700 REO assets, I may want to go partner with her. I may want to go get into her system so that I can start getting these assignments. I can start building my own connections and ideally stay with Judy. But if not, I'm ready to move out and do my own thing now that I've made these connections with these different asset management companies. That's a great strategy. Now, you may have to take a hit on your splits, but we got to look at the end result. So if you can increase your network through association by people who are already big players in the market, I would seriously look at that. Now, if you don't want to do that and you're like, I'm going to go make it on my own, I don't want to piggy tail on somebody, I get that, I respect that. But now you want to go look at the second level, like who are the property preservation companies that are doing rekeys or winterizations or ongoing mowing service, or who are the contractors that these banks and these outsourcers are using to do property repairs? Who are the eviction attorneys they're using that are local, right? Like, you want to start building up your network of professionals that are already working in this space, because we know, just like with traditional sales, when people refer you over, it increases your likelihood of success exponentially. So it's very important you start looking around, just saying, like, who do I know that's already getting the business and can help me get my foot in the door so that I can start building my own rapport by getting people to know, like, and trust me? How do I do that? And then the very most important, hands down thing that I think that you can do is attend industry events. And when I'm talking industry events, I don't mean the guy down the street that's putting on an REO expo. I'm not saying that. I wouldn't go to that. I'm talking about 5-star and big events like that. So 5-star is an event that's held once a year in Dallas. I don't think they'll ever change it out of Dallas. And it's like a 3 or 4 day event where you've got hundreds of vendors, property preservation vendors, eviction, attorney vendors, but you have REO outsourcers there that have booths set up, that have asset managers working those booths, that have a place where you can go apply directly and you can meet decision makers and have them walk you through the application process. And now you can start building rapport, and you can start building those friendships or those connections and relationships that are going to get you reassignments and they're going to get you new listing opportunities. It gives you an advantage because you're meeting people face to face, you're applying directly and getting help from them, you're learning their values, you're learning about any extra programs or certifications that they offer, and you're mingling with the biggest players in the industry. So now you can start creating your own asset manager list and your own outsourcer list and your own BPO provider list, so that you have this reference and you're building this huge database of people that you can go back to and you can look for opportunities, and you can start doing the things like Joshua Smith did, where now you have a list of asset managers that you can reach out personally and see if you can help them with anything. And you can start building opportunities through there. It's worth the money, it's worth the time, it's worth participating, because not only are you making these connections, but you're also getting some of the best training on the planet from some of the biggest people in the bank, finance, REO world at these events. They have breakout sessions so you can go learn different sections of the REO process. It's going to make you a better agent, because look, The reality of this is that it is a tough nut to crack. I've said that before. I'll say it again because I want you to go into it eyes wide open. But once you get that business, that's just a half of it. Like once you get the ball, you have to run with it. And if you don't, you're going to be penalized. You're going to lose listings and you may be removed from the network completely. That is why I built REO University, is because I had to fire a lot of agents who were really good agents. I had to remove them from the network and I couldn't tell them why. I couldn't give anybody a cheat sheet on how to succeed with us because I would get fired for it. So when Joshua Smith and I created REO University, we said, dude, we're going to pull the curtains back. And we're just going to tell everybody everything they actually need to know to be the most successful as possible. If you're not going to REO University, you need to go to some of these training events. You need to go to these breakout groups because now people are telling you what you have to do once you get an assignment to continue to earn the business. Like companies will go over their scorecard, which is how they measure an agent's success. They'll go over their metrics, their KPIs. They'll go over their company culture, what's important to them, the right way to do cash for keys, the right way to do occupancy inspections, the right way to do a monthly marketing report. Like everything that's within their world, they're going to teach you how to do correctly. And if you know how to do that, then you can meet expectations from the asset managers and you can continue to succeed. And if you don't do that, then you could be left in the dust. You could be removed from the network that you worked so hard to get into just because you didn't know the right way to handle the business. All right. So that's it. That's my 5 list of ways that you could get into REO. It will take a little bit of work, but I promise you that once you start seeing success here, it's going to lead to success in your traditional business. It's going to give you an opportunity to not only recession proof your business, but to actually give you a vehicle that will allow you to grow and excel and succeed during a recession. So you don't have to be one of the agents that turns and goes and works for the REO companies during the downturn. I appreciate you being here. If you did like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, hit the bell icon, but make sure you take a look at the description where you can go check out REO University and have a discount code to get started there. Make sure you're downloading my bank list. These are the 100 REO banks and BPO providers. This is my personal list that I've been putting together since 2015. And then make sure that if you have any comments, I want to see those. If you want to actually ask me a question directly, there's a link there. It's going to take you to a video landing page. You're going to see me on video again, and you'll have an opportunity to text me your question or record a video and give me some more information that I can come back with as we create a new video in this Ask an Asset Manager playlist. So appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you got a lot out of it. I had a lot of fun making this video, but go and apply it. You know, Joshua Smith is not just a great friend and business partner. He's a mentor of mine, and he always ends everything with saying, information without action is delusion. And I don't want any of us to be delusional. So take what you've learned here, start putting a plan together, go apply it, go crush it, and then come back and see me on another video, and we'll just keep taking one step forward, one step at a time. All right. See you on the next video.